I bought a pair of Nikes because I was just so excited about the economic lesson that they give us. But the problem is, Nike sent me 2 boxes of the same shoe. And so now I have 2 economic lessons to share with you. No! No. Hi, I'm Craig and welcome to Market Power. And I just read the book Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, which is about the beginning of Nike. It's a fantastic book. It just immediately captured me. I was so excited about it. And as I was reading it, I came across this story about the Nike shoes and some of the first ones. And it turned out they had just months ago reissued these shoes. I knew that I had to have a pair of these because this is the kind of thing that when I go out there and I give talks, I want to hold up the shoe and explain to people how it teaches us so much about economics. But now I also have this problem where they've sent me another box of them and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. So we're going to go through both of these now. We're going to go through this economic story behind these shoes, and we're going to go through the story of me figuring out what I'm going to do with the second pair. So let me go more into the dilemma I'm facing with these shoes. So if you can see, the boxes are right here. They are identical. Now you would expect that coming out of shoe boxes, right? But when I mean they're identical, I mean the packages they came in are identical. They both came in a box like this, and they both had a tracking number. That tracking number is identical for both of these. A duplicate got out there somehow, and now I have 2 shoes and I have to figure out how to send it back. And maybe I'm overcomplicating these things. There is a label in there that says if you want to return them, slap this thing on the box, send it back. So maybe I'm just overcomplicating this. So what is the shoe that I'm talking about? It is the Nike Waffle Trainer. This was the shoe that put Nike on the map. And it's called the Waffle Trainer because if you look at the bottom of that shoe, it looks like a waffle iron. And the story is that Coach Bowerman, when he was designing this shoe, got inspiration from a waffle iron. There are so many economic lessons in here, and there are at least 3 that I want to focus on, but now that I'm looking at the bottom, maybe there's a 4th one I'm going to have to check out in just a second. So I thought it through and I realized I'm not overcomplicating this because the problem is these boxes are indiscernible between each other, right? And if I just slap a label on there and send it back, that means they're going to get this box. They're going to think that I'm returning the shoe and they're going to refund me. And then I'll just have a free box of shoes at home and they will have nothing. And so I'm definitely not overcomplicating this because I don't want them to refund me for shoes that I already have. So I can't go through that normal process of just slapping a label on there. So I've actually found out that the Nike store has a Twitter account. I'm going to tweet them. The first story that this shoe tells us is about the gains from trade. Phil Knight started Nike. It was actually Blue Ribbon way back when he was actually starting it, but the idea was that Japan was creating all of these products that were now dominating the market. Like right now, I'm filming this on a Sony camera, which is a Japanese company. And at that time, those companies were coming out because they had cheaper labor and they were making high quality products. And Phil Knight thought, what if we could make shoes in Japan? So Nike started off as a Japanese made shoe. These waffle trainers started off being made in Japan because Phil Knight saw gains from trade. We could get the same quality shoes or better quality shoes for cheaper by using international trade. So there are gains from trade embodied in this shoe. So I tweeted at the Nike store and told them what happened, that I got the extra pair of shoes, and I just said, can I keep them? And they actually responded and said, DM us so that way we can get the information and we can get those returned. So I was a little bummed because of all people, you would think the social media team would say, oh yeah, totally, you can keep them. So now you guys see what they're going to tell me to do with this extra pair of shoes. Well, let's get back to the second lesson that we learned from this pair of shoes, and that is the gains from the division of labor. Now, I mentioned that these were made in Japan, and what had happened, I believe, so at least the rubber was made in Japan, and maybe the upper was too. I don't know exactly, but the pieces were made in separate places, and then they were shipped to the United States, and in, I believe it's New Hampshire or Massachusetts. I can't remember which state it was, but in one of them they had a factory here in the US where they would actually put these together. So they would sew the top to the bottom, and then we would have the full shoe. And so you would have people taking care of some of the parts. The labor was divided out to Japan to make parts of it, and then it was completed here in the United States. A second part of this labor, right? You divide out the labor, you give it to the people who can do the task the most efficiently, and you bring it all together and you get a better shoe, a cheaper shoe. So Nike was really taking advantage of the division of labor. Again, another economic lesson in this shoe. So Nike got back to me and they gave me a label to return this. And I'm not sure if they're gonna refund me. Like, I don't want them to refund me because I bought a pair of shoes. But this system only has one pair of shoes. And I explained to them, you accidentally sent me a second box. And so they said, here's the shipping label. It goes with that order number, but it's the order number for the pair that I paid for too. And so I don't know if I hope they just take this. I don't want a refund, but now I guess we'll have to wait and see if I get a refund. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do. What do you think is gonna happen? Back to the shoe, and when I mean back to the shoe, let's look at the back of the shoe. Really, it's the bottom of the shoe, right? But you know, we're gonna look at it as the back right now. So this is the Waffle Trainer, right? I mentioned at the beginning that this is inspired by a waffle iron, and that was because Bowerman, the coach, who was a co-founder of Nike, was trying to figure out the best way to make shoes. He was really into innovating with shoes, figuring out what worked out best. And one of the challenges he faced was that they had a new track, I believe it was a polyurethane track at the University of Oregon, and he needed a shoe that could grip better to the track. And as he was experimenting, he got the inspiration from the waffle iron, and he found a way to create this shoe that had better grip. So what does that teach us about economics? And he was taking the same material that everybody else was using, but he was just organizing it in a different way. He had a different pattern. Like, that's economic growth, right? We're using the same resources, but we're getting more out of it. And this is a really important principle of economics and economic growth. Does it drop off?
Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like you're busy. I promised a fourth lesson, and that came when I looked at the very bottom of the shoe. If you can see that, it talks about the patent number, and that's because Nike, really Bowerman, was able to patent this design to make sure they were the exclusive users, and they got to have it until about 1991, and then anybody was allowed to use it. But I'm sure at that point, there were a lot of people who knew other ways of combining these materials to make better shoes. But again, like, the reason why we have patents is as a way to encourage and reward investigative work, research of innovations. That's the word I'm looking for, innovations. We want to encourage innovations. This thing's amazing. I love it. No! No. So I got the email back from Nike, and they refunded the order. So right now I have a pair of shoes that I did not pay for. And that's why I specifically went through this one. They said, oh, you know, we don't want you to get charged for a pair of shoes you didn't buy. And said they refunded me for a pair of shoes that I did buy. And now I feel bad. Oh man. So the economics of this, like, these shoes, they're super cheap to Nike. You know, they sell them at a markup because they've got a monopoly, they've got market power. And so I still feel bad because I still have this pair of shoes that I didn't pay for. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just do a giveaway. Like, to ease my conscience, I'll buy another pair of shoes and give it away to a viewer. So if I'll put the way you can enter the giveaway in the description, so go check that out, and maybe we can make this a good thing. Maybe I figure it's better that I at least buy one pair of shoes and get one for free than just getting a free pair of shoes. I will feel better about that. So check in the description for a way to get your own pair of Nikes, and we'll make this a good thing. Here at Market Power, we are interested in the power of markets and economics to shape our world. If you enjoyed this video, you'll enjoy a video that actually features these little Lego guys up here talking about copyright and patents. So I recommend you check that one out, or check out one of my other videos. If you're interested in joining a community of people interested in and excited about economics, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next Market Power video.